Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to start our new topic, understanding law from political science. In this chapter, we are going to see, do laws apply to all? Yes. So for this, we will read page number 42 to page number 45. Parliament make the laws, but if we see the scenario in the society, do these all laws apply to all? Do all laws apply to all equally? See, so first we'll see a situation here. Rasmin, can you read for me this situation?
Yes, ma'am. Um, a government official helps his son go into hiding because his son has been given a 10-year jail sentence by a district court for a crime that he has committed.
Okay, so what is the situation? A government official helps his son to go into hiding. Why? His son has been given a 10 years jail sentence by a district court for a crime that he has committed, whatever crime he has done. So his son got 10 years jail. So a government official helped his son to go into hiding. So do you think that the government official action were right? Should his son be exempt from the law just because his father is economically and the politically powerful? So the above is clear case of violation of law, as you read in unit 1. Member of the constitution assembly were agreed there should be no arbitrary exercise of power in independent India. They therefore instituted several provisions in the constitution that would establish the rule of law. The most important of these was that all persons in independent India are equal before the law. So now the basic idea that we would talk about after independence, understanding the law and everyone in the society is equal before the law. So be a rich, so it would be a poor, so it would be a minister or it would be a servant. Everyone would follow the same rules and same law. For example, uh, there is a rule of right to vote. There is a rule certain age requirement that would be same for rich person and that would be same for poor person, for the servant or the for the minister also. So that does not discriminate. The constitution does not discriminate at present. But when we talk about understanding law, we must have a kind of historical framework in our mind. So let's understand that what is into, we will understand it into two sections. First, pre-independence, and the second one, post-independence. The law cannot discriminate because person on the basic basis of religion, caste, gender, it should not discriminate. So in the ancient India, there would innumerable and often overlapping local laws. Different communities enjoy different degree of autonomy of administering these laws among their own. In some cases the punishment that two-person receive for the same crime varied dependent on the caste background, with lower caste being more harshly punished. This slowly began to change as this system of law began to further evolve during the colonial period. So if we look onto the kind of much prior scenario during our historical past time, there used to be king and queens. Yes, then we have people who work. Discrimination was if there is the penalty that is applied to the person. So there is discrimination in historical period also. If there is a penalty that would be applied to a person from higher caste would have to pay low penalty. However, a person from lower caste would have to pay high penalty. So that was a kind of again a discrimination. It is often believed that it was a British colonist who introduced the rule of law in India. So, historians have disputed this claim on several grounds, two of which include first, that colonial law was arbitrary, and the second, the Indian colonists played a prominent role in the development of the legal sphere in British India. One example of arbitrariness that continued to exist as part of British law in the Sedition Act of 1870. The idea of sedition was very broadly understood within this act. Any person protesting or criticizing the British government could be arrested without due trial. So, if we had sedition law, it was introduced by the British colonial government in 1870. It says that the act of sedition is to bring hatred or contempt toward the government established by law in India. In this case, the punishment may be imprisonment of life and fine. So that this was the law where someone is protesting or criticizing the British government without any reason could put them into jail. So this was a kind of practice that was done, and it was a arbitrary law. Arbitrary law, we could say, because there was no specific reason, or the only way was for a common Indian to be quiet, or if not, they would be put into jail. So that is a kind of arbitrary law. So it is not based on any law. It is based on or determined by individual preference or convenience rather than necessity. So Indian nationalists began protesting and criticizing this arbitrary use of authority by the British. They also began fighting for greater equality and idea wanted to change the idea of law for the set of rules that they were forced to obey. To law, as including idea of justice, by the end of 19th century, the Indian legal profession also began emerging and demanded respect in colonial court. They began to use law to defend the legal right of Indians. Indian judges also began to play a greater role in the making decisions. Therefore, there were several ways in which Indian play a major role in the evolution of the rule of law during the colonial period. So, however, post independence, we have come up with the various law, and all law of these basically have kind of constitutional framework. So they do not discriminate people. So that the key idea of pre-independence and the post-independence. So again, if there is any criminal case, if there is a case of smuggling, there is case of theft, all these cases are brought to court, and abolition of the or the abolition of any standard of law that is there would be considered or would be given a punishment, right? Therefore we say that all people are equal before law, and the law does not discriminate at present days based on gender, caste, religion. And once we have person who has been found guilty of violating law, he could be given a punishment for the same. So now thing had changed drastically from the colonial time. As we said, during colonial time there was arbitrary law or rules that were existed. They have we have already discussed about sedition law. Any person protesting or criticizing the British government, so, any person protesting or criticizing the British government could be arrested without due trial. This means this is Sedition Act of 1870. Okay, got it? What is Sedition Act of 1870? Yes, we have seen two laws apply to all. Yes, okay, so let's start PPT. Do laws apply to all? So it's all good. The citizen have voted, the winning candidate have become member of parliament, a government has been formed, and the other elected member of parliament are in the opposition. So all these things, like we voted, then winning candidate become MPs, and they represent us. Government has been formed, and the other, which is not elected, those are the opposition. So all these things are good, but what next? What is their day-to-day job? Like we learned in the last chapter, they pass bill when the parliament is in session. Okay, so parliament start their work at 11 p.m. Then they have question hours, then they have 0 hour, and then after lunch they discuss on whatever issues are raised or whatever bill has introduced. In that discussion they pass bills, isn't it? They pass bills when the parliament is in session. The parliament is in session for only 67 days in a year. So you might have doubt here, there are 365 days in a year, and they just their sessions, parliament are is in session for only 67 days in a year. So but they do work more than just those 67 days. So what is that work? Let's see. Consider this, the country needs all kind of bills, right, from rule of vehicles and insurance to rule these companies and partnership firm, to rule against child labor and child marriage, right up to rule against domestic violence and tourist act in the country. So does each of these almost 800 members of parliament know everything about all this topic? How can they vote on it if they don't know, if they don't have knowledge of this? So, in addition, there is pressure to vote as per their party ideology, even if they might not agree. Suppose you are a group in ruling party or in opposition party, but your individual opinion is different. But your party is with a particular law, so you have to suppose that law. So there is pressure to vote as per your party ideology.
If you like our videos, do share them and subscribe to our channel. If you want awesome quizzes, write to us. Keep watching and keep learning with Walnut.